Hey, welcome back to Log Yard. My name is Bill. This is Solutions Forestry, and today we're going to test out some new bands from Norwood. The bands are called Stellite bands. I've been showing them off in a couple of videos. And what I need to cut is I need to cut an order for a woodworking customer who wants 12 white oak 4x4s. Now he needs 4-footers and 6-footers. So if I can cut a 10-foot log, I can cut that number down to 6. I'm going to apologize now for the wind noise. My mics, I lost my hookup from my mics, so I'm waiting on new ones and I don't have them yet. So you're just going to have to bear with me. Please don't tell me to get mics in the comments. Matter of fact, go ahead, tell me to get mics in the comments. I tried my old mics. They didn't work. So what we have here is we have what I believe is my white oak pile here. And these are white oak big logs, and I have what I think are white oak small logs. Actually, I don't think that one in the front is right there. I think it's a black, and I think that one on the top's a black too. But if you look around here, for identifying trees, this is a white oak right here. Give you a close up of the bark. And that's what they look like when they're juvenile. And that bark changes over time. So if you look at this one right here, it's a little more mature. The bark starts to get a little bit bigger. And then as they get bigger than that, this one here is a white oak. You can see the furrows. Let me show you around the other side so you see the color. You can see how the furrows start to get bigger and they start to deepen from that scaly bark. And then if you look over here to the left, if there were leaves on these trees, it'd be a lot easier, but there aren't. I believe this one looks like a white oak, but I believe it's a black oak. And then if you come over here, that one right there is a red oak, a traditional red oak. I believe that one is a black oak, which is also a red oak. And then we have white oak. And then I believe this one could be a white oak, but I believe it's a black oak. It's really tough to tell when they start to get this big. It does look a little bit like that has white oak bark, and believe me, for those of you in the comments that are looking at it just going, oh, it's white, it's white oak, it just doesn't work that way. I believe that one's a black oak, which is also a red oak. Matter of fact, I'm sure it is. You can kind of see where I knocked that dead chunk off the side of it right there. This is a black oak. So hopefully you can see what you run into when you're trying to identify. I believe this is a black oak also. I'm 90% sure it is. And then you've got a red oak sitting right there. There's a red oak behind it right there. There's some kind of oak over there. I don't know what, oh, actually it could be an ash tree, to be honest with you. And then we have a couple here that I think are both black oaks. And we got this big pile. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little exploratory cutting. This is a white oak. This one right here is a white oak. If you look, this one is a white oak right here. That one is a white oak right there. That one right there, I'm not really sure. The one behind it looks like a white oak. But when you start to see the bark like this could be a white oak. I think it's a black oak. And up in here, that top one up there is a white oak. This one I believe is a white oak. That one's definitely a white oak. And I think this one may be a black oak, and I think this one could go either way. But I believe when I took this tree down, just looking at the end, I think this is the one that I took down a few miles from here that had that bug damage in it. I think this is a black oak. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some exploratory cutting on these. What we're going to do is we're going to trim off the end there. We'll take a look at the wood. It's really the only way to tell. We'll trim some of the butt on that one. I need a log that's, in theory, 10 foot long that will give me a 12-inch cant. That's what I need. That one is too short. It's only 8. But we're going to cut it anyway to see if we can identify it. I think that good candidates for my cutting today would be this one right here. But the guy wants them fairly clear, and it has those knots in it right there. I think maybe this big, huge back one back here with this big leader coming off it. That one right there is a really nice log on the other side of that crotch. This one right here would be perfect, but it's huge. And this is the one right here that I am going to cut if this is white oak. I'm going to trim that leader right there. And if this one is a white oak, that's the one I'm going to cut. It is huge. I'll have to turn it with the machine. It's an absolute monster. I can't tell you how big that is around, but it's 28 to 30. I'll have to trim the butt swell. I'll definitely have to trim off the crotch here because the crotch is huge. I don't know if you can tell from here, but that crotch is probably 48 across. So let's fire up the 372 and we'll do some exploratory cuts and we'll see what we come up with. I'm just gonna pause you 1 second and we'll fire up the, well, I don't need to pause you. You guys can watch. I'm not going to show any milling in this video, I don't think, because it'll run too long. And like I said, when you can't hear my voice, I apologize. Actually, I'm going to pause you 1 second while I get my headgear. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since you're really not going to be able to hear me, I'm going to do some exploratory cuts and I'll lay the chunks up here. And then after I cut them, we'll come over and take a look and we'll identify them. Then I've got a lumber crayon. I need to start identifying these logs when they come in from the tree service so that I can differentiate between them, because it's way different when they're brand new, fresh cut to now. So let's fire it up and we'll check them out. So let's check out a few of these cookies. And unfortunately for me, I think the majority of these big logs are in the red family. Sometimes it is pretty hard to even do it this way and tell, because sometimes they fade out. But like you'll be able to see. Well, actually, this is a good example right here. Put this way. Let's get this big cookie out. So let's take a look at what we got. In case you didn't hear me, let's take a look at what we got. So here's your traditional, I don't want to get the camera thing on there, white oak. And this also is a white oak, but then you look at this, you can see the red tinge in it. Looks like it's in the red oak family. You can also see the red tinge in that one. You can see the red chips. See the red chips here. This one kind of looks like it could go either way, but I believe it's red. This one I believe could go either way, but it's red. That one's red. Look at what the white one looks like on the back side here. So sometimes, even when you cut these fresh off, they still can have a little red tinge in them, but I think you can see the difference. And I think you can definitely see the difference there. So unfortunately, I think the majority of these have red oak in them. Hopefully you can see the difference there. It's a white oak. That's, I believe, in the red family. I think it's a black. This one I thought for sure was a big white oak, and I don't believe it is. I think it's a red. I don't know. The wood chips kind of look white oakish to me, actually, but those could be from this. Yeah, it's really tough to tell on this one. Really tough to tell. I think it's black oak. And then if you look at this fresh cut here, and this one looks really kind of white oakish, but I don't believe it is. I'm sure when this was dropped off they said it was a white oak, and I'm just not sure it is. Just to get color in there. Yeah, it looks, actually the more I look at it, the more it looks like a white oak. And that was, which cookie was that? The one with the rot in it. This one right here. Sure looks red from here. You see white, white. White, some sort of red. That one's real close. That's the other end of this big log, the leader that I cut off. Not even a surefire way to do it. I just don't want to cut a huge log and then find out that it's not white oak. Although this one, this cut really looks like white oak. I don't know if I could get in there better. The chips really could go either way. The chips kind of look, yeah, well, you can see the difference in the chips there. So there's white oak chips. This is a younger white oak tree, and there's red oak chips. You can see the difference right there. So I don't believe that any of these big ones right now are white oak. That one definitely isn't. I don't believe that one is. I think these are big black oaks. So, I'm kind of hosed here. I think I'm just going to have to cut multiple logs, which is the solution for me. The solution for me is just to cut multiple small logs. Start with that one. Get out of it what I can. I've got some small white oaks lying around, like these over here. I know that one's a red oak, but this is white oak here. That one's definitely a red oak right there on the ground. I had more here than this. Cut most of them. I'll show you some more over here. Probably not the most interesting video, but it's kind of what we have to go through. So yeah, there's a pretty good sized white oak right there. And then I believe, and that's definitely red oak sitting next to it. And that bark, the furrows on that bark look more consistent with what's up on top of that pile. That's a fairly good size round white oak. And the furrows are much, much smaller. These are much deeper, like in the black oak. That's a red oak. And that one is a white oak. This actually might not be a bad candidate for cutting right here. To see the length on that one, that's not a bad candidate. It's a little dirty. But if you look at the furrows, the only one that kind of looks like it, see, those furrows on that one look kind of red oakish up there. And these I think are blacks. That looks like a black just from the bark. So we get a conundrum. I'm gonna have to cut a few logs, and I don't have as much white oak here as I thought I did. You know, I might cut this one. It does have some cracks in it. I don't know if they pushed it over or what. So you're kind of taking a chance there. You can take 4-footers out of this one with no problem. It's pretty dirty though. That one would have to be majorly trimmed, and you want some kind of clear, and that's got those big limbs coming out of it, and it's got a little black staining on it, so that would not be a good candidate, I don't think. I think we start with this one here, and then after that one we probably cut this one, and then if we have to, we cut that one. I think that's the way to go here. And I think if you look in the back here, there's a white oak sitting back there too. It's actually not a bad size one, but it does has some ant damage in the end, so that's not a bad size one. So I don't know exactly how informative that was. The one thing about white oak that happens is that sometimes when you cut them, they look red, but then they bleach out. And if you look at these chips look like they might be starting to bleach out. And if you look at the end of this log, it looks like it might be starting to bleach out more towards white oak. I know the person that brought me that log said it was white oak. I'll take a look one more time at the end cuts. So I think that leader, did I cut the leader off the other one? Oh, I did. It's a little bit bigger cut. Yeah, it looks red to me. It's that one right there, I think. Doesn't look white, I'll tell you that. That's white. That's white. That one doesn't look white. That one doesn't look white. I don't think it's hard to see the difference. So Not a very good video. I don't even know if it'll ever make the queue. I'll watch it back. But we are going to get my shit out of here. I'm going to bring some of these definite white oaks down to the mill, and we will get started on them, and we'll be running those Stay-Lite blades, so Stay-Lite bands. So that's what we're going to do. And, thanks for watching. Tune in for a few minutes to the next video, hopefully to see some cutting. Pirate Solutions out.